Welcome back into the Cowboys Report. Tom Downey here. It might be a long video. We got Overreaction Monday, injury news, trade rumors to discuss, and yet it all kind of ties into this. It certainly feels like the Dallas Cowboys 2024 season is over. Do you think that is the case? We'll spend a lot of time on this topic and a lot of other topics over the course of the next few days, but especially this video. Vote in the comments section. Is the Cowboys season over? Y for yes, N for no. That will be our first overreaction. Is the Dallas Cowboys season over? My take is, yeah, it sure feels like it. It's not technically over, but we can read between the lines here. You're 3-5. You're not playing well. You're probably worse than what your record actually suggests. You can still make the playoffs. You get one loss, maybe two the rest of the way. Is there anything that we have seen from this organization, from this team, from this personnel, from this coaching staff that makes us feel like they can make that run happen? I don't, especially now that you're injured again, too. There's more to come on each of these individual points that we'll get to briefly here off the top, but it doesn't look good. I don't think you should be buyers at the trade deadline. I don't think your roster in and of itself is good enough. Dak Prescott is now banged up. We'll discuss that in a little bit on today's show with his injuries and everything going on there, which I am concerned about, both short-term and, frankly, long-term. CeeDee Lamb is now banged up and injured and maybe shouldn't have been out there in the game anyway. Mike McCarthy isn't doing a good job. That was my big takeaway from last night's game, and I still feel that way, or yesterday's game. It's been the full 24 hours almost now. The vibes suck around this Cowboys team. Like, they're awful. You got your normally very, very good PR guy saying, best case, this really effing sucks, or worst case, we really effing suck. He's not wrong on either in the end. The vibes are terrible. You are way behind in the NFC East race. You're not going to close this 3.5 game gap. You're not. You're not good enough, even though you get the Commanders twice. I'm not sure you're going to close the Eagles gap. Right now, playoff picture-wise, it's about the wild card. Well, you're 2.5 games back. How you think that the Vikings, Eagles, Packers are all going to collapse for you? You get the Bucs still, okay? The Bears, I don't think are that great. I don't think there's actually that many good football teams. I don't think Philadelphia is that good of a football team. I don't think you can beat them right now. There's nothing that I've seen that says, yeah, you're gonna right the ship and win at home against Philadelphia, with or without the starting quarterback. Basically what you're staring down here over these next 3 games is you need to win at least 2 minimum, and frankly, all 3. I think the one you can afford to lose is the Texans game. That doesn't have as big an impact on tiebreakers and stuff. Do we think they're going to win 2 out of those 3? I don't right now. The things that you do bad, stop the run, those teams do well. Mobile quarterbacks, 2 of them have it. I don't like the vibes there. So give me your Cowboys record predictions. You ain't winning 10 games like I thought you did. It's just not going to happen. So it's the pinned comment on today's show. If the ad comes on YouTube, take advantage of it. Let me know the Cowboys record this season. Let's talk injury stuff here. Dak Prescott first up. What has been termed a high, which I think is like physically it's high up on the hamstring. Injury there. Dak maybe wasn't fully confident in how that one happened. He said he felt it getting up and then, aggravated it again on a throw, which is not a good sign either. He also had a cut on his hand right there, which seems like it's just a cut. They think he'll be fine. MRI is set for today, and that's when we'll know how bad this actually is. You're hoping it's like, it's a minor strain, and even in that case, I don't know if he's going to play in this one, which is dicey in and of itself. It could also be a more severe strain, which means you're going to miss him for 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever. And by that time, your season might really, truly be over. And then it's like, do you play it really cautiously? Do you bring it back out there? Do you, at that point, let Trey Lance play? But your head coach is fighting for his job. Your front office is not. You got this weird misalignments with your organizational philosophy that you get here in the end. It's just not a good spot. It's adding injury to insult this season. And even before the Dak injury, this was trending towards being the worst Cowboys season relative to expectations since the Romo Dak era got going. That's what you're staring down the barrel of here, without injuries to the quarterback. I don't think, we'll see what the numbers are. We'll see what the status is later today. I don't think you see Cooper Rush start or see Dak play. I think you see Cooper Rush start. I am not opposed to giving Trey Lance a shot, but your head coach is fighting for his job. I don't know if he wants to go with the mystery box. And I will say, I thought Cooper Rush did a fine job. Now, this is kind of who Cooper Rush is. He's going to be under 60% completion percentage. He handles the offense. He doesn't get overwhelmed more often than not. He will miss some throws, especially the further it gets downfield. He will make some plays for you. I can't believe they called a read option with him. Should have worked. He fumbled it, which was objectively funny if we ignore the pain that everything has caused us. He's a fine game manager. That's who he is. It's not even a negative. Like, he's made himself a nice NFL career. He's just limited in the end. Now, I am also worried about the CeeDee Lamb injury, not just because I have him on my fantasy team, but because he is your one good offensive playmaker that you trust week in and week out. You'll see flashes from guys like Jake Ferguson, who I thought played well against the Falcons. Again, your offense was mostly fine, except you just made a bunch of stupid mistakes over and over again, which was incredibly frustrating. And I will give CeeDee Lamb, I think Trayvon Diggs gets this credit too, for playing through the pain, playing through the injuries. I question if CeeDee Lamb should have been out there. Like, he very clearly wasn't right. He very clearly was in pain. And again, credit for him gutting it out. Cool, awesome, sweet. But was that really the time that he needed to be out there? Like, look, losing Dak and or Lamb, I think both are tremendously important to your entire offense, would be brutal. Like, imagine you're playing the Eagles next week, and we'll see about CeeDee Lamb, but it's Cooper Rush and Jalen Tolbert is now wide receiver 1. Oh, boy. Your biggest hope all of a sudden for week 10 against the Eagles is the Ewing theory, that you lose your best player or players, and the supporting cast suddenly plays at a higher level than we've ever seen previously. It happens. It's possible. If that's what you're banking on, oh, this sucks. Today's show is made possible by Game Time. It is the place for last-minute tickets to your next big event. It's a new feature called Game Time Picks. It makes getting tickets to your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to only show you incredible deals on great seats. Don't waste time searching through thousands of tickets. It is curation designed to save you even more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, everything else in between. The all-in pricing feature shows total cost up front with no surprise fees, by the way, at checkout. Download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Time is it? Game time, except for maybe the Dallas Cowboys. Go to a Mavs game instead would probably be my advice there. All right, back to the overreactions here. Overreaction number 2. The Cowboys are going to buy at the NFL trade deadline. Jerry said they were open to it. I want to know my thoughts on this. We'll get to it here in a second. Let's show you what Jerry Jones said first. We got a shot, we think, to improve our roster. We have some things in the mix. We'll probably do a couple things this week. We're going to do everything we can at all times to improve this team, and in our judgment, if what you have to give up helps improve it, we'll do it. I know everyone understands. I'm going to have to say it, but we'll go for it. He basically was implying, I'm going to say all in again. I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to do it because you guys get mad at me. This is Jones boy trickery. That's what this is. I don't buy this for a second. They kind of hinted at it like, they did the line. Talent acquisition is a 365-day-a-year business. That's what the Cowboys like to say. I don't believe them. He also dismissed it's not going to be an Amari type of move. Well, okay, then what are you really going to do that's going to make your team better? Like, good enough better. Are you going to do an Eli Anaku trade again where you trade a late 7th round pick for a backup defensive tackle? Okay, sure. Going to add a back? Okay. I'm interested if guys help me in 2025. If anything, this team should sell. The Cowboys should not be buyers at the NFL trade deadline. They're not good enough They just aren't. And again, Jerry doesn't like to hear this. It's all been set up by your awful offseason, and you're reaping what you sow as a result. So will the Cowboys make any trade, whether buying or selling? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Let me know in the comments of today's video. As we get to overreaction number 3, you got to fire Mike McCarthy. This is not an overreaction to me, like, at all. I'm over this. I just don't care anymore about this coaching staff as constructed. I am over it. Now, I don't think they're going to fire him. I don't think they're going to pull the trigger right now. Now, if you lose to the Eagles and Houston and you get your butt beat by Dan Quinn and the Commanders, maybe. Although the timing's tough with Thanksgiving game right after that. Lose the Giants on Thanksgiving, they might fire you. Lose to Carolina, might do what the Saints did to you. Or what the Saints did with Dennis Allen. The Cowboys have made it clear they don't want to pay a coach to not work for them. I truly believe, and they've admitted that publicly, I truly believe if the Cowboys had Mike McCarthy out of a contract after last season, he would not have been back. They would have hired somebody else. But he was under contract. They brought him back for one more year. And in a way, I feel bad for Mike McCarthy. He has not been set up for success. He got his roster made worse on purpose this offseason. That sucks for Big Mike. But we also have eyes. And we know that Mike McCarthy has not done a good job. And I think that was very much on display against the Atlanta Falcons. Pre-snap penalties everywhere. Look, the players get blamed too, but this is a consistent game in, game out issue. Your head coach, your chief communication officer, sits up there and says, we got to work on the pre-snap stuff. We got to stop having miscommunications. And then it becomes even worse. So at a certain point, that's on you. When it is consistent and constant and every damn game, that is on you. How on earth do you have both a too many men on the field penalty on offense on a critical 4th and 1 that ruins your spot and a too few men on the field on a touchdown play? It's math. How does that keep happening to this team? Why do you dial up the worst fake punt call I've ever seen? You're 4th and 2, deep in your own territory. Just put your offense out there. Well, you're going to let Brian Anger throw a jump ball to C.J. Goodwin? That's your play design? Come on. That's Bones Fossil too, but Mike's the head coach. He signed off on it. They practiced that all week. They know that's their go-to fake punt play. Really? Look, I think the 2021 to 2022, 2023 Cowboys win that football game because that team somehow always found ways to overcome these stupids, the mistakes, the boneheaded false starts, the holdings, the special teams penalties that cost you 30 yards. This team isn't talented enough, and they are certainly not well coached enough to overcome it either. They've been a bad third down team. Their third down game plan is very cowardly again. The roster, which is a direct result of the front office, and the coaching staff have failed. I will change my roster in the offseason. I damn sure better change my head coach as well because this isn't working. Who do you want as the next Cowboys head coach? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. It's youtube.com/CowboysTV. Overreaction number 4. Rico Dowdle is very clearly your running back number 1. This is not an overreaction. In fact, it's an underreaction because this is how it always should have been. You have always had a good enough back on your team. His name has been Rico Dowdle the entire time. They tried to make the Zeke thing work. They've gone with a committee rotation pretty frequently. They had the illness to Rico Dowdle as well. He is your best back. And I will not pretend otherwise any further. I am not saying he's a superstar back or anything, but he ran pretty well against the not great Falcons run defense. 12 carries, 75 yards, multiple good chunk gains is valuable. Heck, I think you could have run it even more in that game. I think you could have leaned more heavily on the run. When you saw that you could run the ball a bit better than what you thought you were going to be able to, you should have made an adjustment. This team doesn't make adjustments very well. I do worry about Rico holding up. He's had injury problems in the past. That's fine. He is clearly your best back. So we'll see what happens with Zeke. I'm over that as well. Like, it hasn't gone well. We don't have to pretend that it's gone well. Your owner, again, because you are a dysfunctional organization, kind of undercut the head coach when he made the comment about, Zeke's a great guy, basically. Like, okay, he just got suspended for a game, basically. Like, just why can't you just not talk for a minute, Jerry? Please. Hopefully, that does not become another distraction for the team. I think the social media side is whatever. The Zeke truthers will never admit that they were wrong. It's fine. Hopefully, it's not another distraction of, what are you going to do with Zeke? It's the Cowboys, so the third best back on your roster, your backup back, somehow became a national story. Sucks. Now, we will be live for the NFL trade deadline this year, so do not miss out. Hit that sub button right now, youtube.com/CowboysTV. We will move to overreaction number 5. It is time to tank. And this is yes, but also kind of no on that front. There will be no, you have to lose games right now mandate. There will not be one of those because that's not how NFL teams operate. The coaching staff, all of whom are fighting for their jobs and their futures and trying to pay their mortgage, is not going to actively lose games on purpose. They will not tank. The guys fighting for contracts, their futures, will not tank. You might not have the best efforts, but they're not going to actively lose games on purpose. But you can still focus on 2025 and beyond. Don't add players at the deadline this year. Sunk cost. Move on. Don't rush players back from injury. If you'd won these last 2 games and Micah was 90%, put him out there. Now, no. He's got to be 100. Raise the bar for clearing them to return from beyond, 90, 95% to 100%. Don't jeopardize making the injuries worse or adding new injuries for pieces that are in 2025 for you, like Deron Bland, like Micah Parsons. Don't CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott. It's not quite full-on organic tanking. It's more of, I won't kill you, but I don't have to save you either. That is how the Dallas Cowboys should treat the 2024 season. It is Batman Begins. Front office is Batman, which I hate the analogy because it makes it fun for the front office. Mike McCarthy is Ra's al Ghul, and the rest of the coaching staff is them. I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to fire you right now, but I'm not going to save you either.